Hello and welcome, listeners. Today we have a very special guest joining us on the show, but she's not your typical protagonist. She's a trailblazer, she's a beacon of courage in the corporate world. Now let's hear it for Olive, who is the lead character of Asma Jan Muhammad's novel, S.H.O.R.E, that's S.H.O.R.E, The Ultimate Descent.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Olive, I've heard so much about you. The way you stood up for what is right is honestly very pleasing to see. It's women like you who make the nation proud, and we're so glad that America has such capable individuals joining its nation. It has consistently provided us with initiatives and motives to do better. It is an honor to have you on our podcast today, and I am really excited to dig right into the topic at hand. Your story in S.H.O.R.E is honestly amazing. This is the reason why I personally believe that women are capable of great things once they set their minds to it. There is honestly nothing that can stop a human once they set their mind to it. Don't you agree?
I absolutely do. I think the human mind is capable of great things, and honestly, anything is possible once we set our mind to it. It's that need to achieve more and actually have had our hard work pay off in the right places. Our story is lucky to be featured, and there are millions of other people out there in the world who go through the same struggles and are able to pull off something much more amazing and great. I'm equally honored to be a part of this podcast.
Well, Olive, we've already established that you are a woman of wonders, but can you tell us a bit about your journey and what inspired you to take a stand against the injustices in your organization?
Hmm. Well, it wasn't an easy decision, that's for sure. I found myself in a situation where I couldn't ignore the corruption and greed that were eating away at the core of my company. I realized I had a choice. I could either turn a blind eye and go along with the status quo, or I could speak up and fight for what's right. In the end, I couldn't live by myself if I didn't try to make a difference. And a few people tried to advise me to lower my voice a little, but honestly, worked to no avail. It really isn't easy seeing people go through things they do not deserve. Those who come from unfortunate backgrounds and are willing to climb the social ladder should be allowed. There shouldn't be any barriers to entry for talent, especially the younger generation. There is so much talent in these kids, and they are honestly working wonders around the world. If they are willing to do something more for themselves, they should be paid for their work and shouldn't be held back because of anyone's greed. This was what struck a chord with me, and I couldn't possibly have other people take advantage of such young souls who were leaving their countries and coming to work for such people who aren't paying them their dues. They've worked hard, and they should be given what they deserve. And as for those who are stealing from such youngsters, they should be taught a lesson. Even if it doesn't come from an individual, it should come from a group, and we should remember that there is strength in unity. We shouldn't be afraid to speak up where we can. It's essential and should be followed.
Your bravery and determination are truly admirable, Olive. Throughout your journey, you faced numerous challenges and obstacles. What kept you going, even when the odds seemed stacked against you?
I think it was a combination of things. First and foremost, I was driven by a sense of duty and integrity. I couldn't stand by and watch innocent people suffer because of the actions of a few greedy individuals. But I was also motivated by the support of those around me, friends, family, even strangers who believed in me and stood by my side every step of the way. Their faith in me gave me the strength to keep fighting, even when it felt like I was swimming against the tide.
Hmm. Your upbringing must play a part in these values that you have adopted. Do you want to touch base on that?
Growing up, I was surrounded by people who were incredibly determined. I come from a middle class family back in my home country. And honestly, it is a struggle if you do not get a good job and somehow make millions. It becomes a chain of the same struggles being passed down from one generation to the other. My parents and everyone else around me were big on doing what was right and always being honest. even when it isn't easy. It taught me the importance of sticking to the truth and staying committed to my principles. So, ever since then, I've been focused on making the right choices in life and never shying away from standing up for what I believe is right. And be honest, if anyone, regardless of gender, is putting in the work, they should be rewarded for it. There shouldn't be any questions. Your work speaks for you, and it is high time we let it.
Olive, I've been meaning to ask you this, but do you believe in people pushing each other down so they can reach the top of certain organizations? Like, do you think that is a necessary step to take?
I firmly believe in the power of hard work and advocating for what's fair, but I don't think it's necessary to step on others to elevate yourself. There's a saying that goes, "You shall get what you deserve," and I wholeheartedly subscribe to that notion. I believe that's what's meant for you will find its way to you, regardless of timing, circumstances, or status. If you're destined to rise to the top, you'll get there, no matter what. It's all about having faith in yourself and trusting in what the future holds.
That seems like a breath of fresh air given what the world has come to now. Your story also touches on themes of gender equality and the importance of allies in the fight for justice. Can you speak to your experiences as a woman navigating the corporate world and the role that allies played in your journey? And what advice would you give those young women out there in the world trying to make a difference?
Hmm. Being a woman in a male dominated industry certainly presents its challenges. I faced discrimination, skepticism, and even outright hostility from some of my colleagues. But I was fortunate to have allies, both male and female, who supported me and helped me amplify my voice. They reminded me that I wasn't alone and that together we could affect real change. It's a reminder that progress requires collaboration and solidarity across gender lines.
Olive, how did this movement gain momentum? The club had been running for a pretty long time. What really got other people on your side? What made them follow your lead?
Well, it wasn't just me who had been seeing other people's corruption. It was a collective thing where people started to speculate and understand that there was more to the story than what it seemed. Since most people were there before me were not affected, I think my questioning made others understand this isn't just about them. It was about the injustice that was taking place, and us being accountants, we were supposed to own up to our positions. This factor and the same injustice that they dealt with, I think, is what pulled people to the idea of taking a stand against those on top. Maybe empathy played a part too.
Absolutely, Olive. Your story is not just about corporate intrigue, it's about the power of resilience, integrity, and standing up for what's right. Would you like to express some words of wisdom for our listeners, especially women?
I would just encourage everyone out there to never underestimate the power of one person to make a difference. Whether it's in the boardroom, the classroom, or the community, each of us can affect positive change. So don't be afraid to speak up, to challenge the status quo, and to fight for justice and equality wherever you might find it. And to all those women out there trying to make a difference, just remember that you matter. And the journey is truly worth the destination. Do not give up. And make sure you continue striving for what you want and not just what people bring your way.
There is a question at stake that would put a lot of things together. But do you think people have a weak point? There must be a reason why corruption somehow seeps through. Why do you think that is?
I believe a lie is never hidden. It comes out one day or another. And this allows people to see the truth at one point in life. I think the quote, "what goes up must come down," applies here perfectly. People can garner and sweep in all the money they want, but if it's not from the right sources, it will be exposed one day. It isn't the first time corrupt people have been exposed, and I think it's always a good thing to question their unquestioned control. And the thing with these people is that they're hungry for power. They're not very loyal to those whom they call friends. They are self centered and self motivated. They would trample and walk over anyone they may call friends. It's also common for them to never admit when they're wrong. They would always try to have the upper hand in the situation. And admitting that they're wrong would basically kill them and their ego. And I think people in positions of corrupt power should literally never, ever have ego. But if they didn't, they probably wouldn't be corrupt.
That is very, very true, Olive. I think it's their ego that drives them to steal from other people and has them do things they may have never wanted to do before. Ego truly does bring a man to their demise. However, I admire the positivity that your character exudes. How does this come about? How do you overcome the nervousness? And does it ever get hard to be faced with hardships consistently and still have to keep a positive mindset?
It is pretty hard sometimes. I'm not gonna lie to you. Once you're in a position where you can possibly change the course of things, or you might have the chance to be in power, your mind starts to doubt everything. Sometimes it feels like an internal conflict since your own friends feel like they aren't your friends anymore. It's like everyone might turn against you somehow, but you must consistently remind yourself that your mind isn't always telling the truth, and that sometimes our anxieties can get the best of us. And we also have to believe that whatever will happen for the best. It feels like you're letting the universe take responsibility for giving you justice because honestly, that's how it is. In moments where I am taken by my emotions and put in a whirlwind of stresses and worries, I mostly try to talk it out and, best of all, have a good cup of coffee on my balcony. My home is recluse, and it relaxes me more than anything in the world.
How did you manage things when COVID-19 came about? It's always an interesting topic for me to talk about, considering all of the mishaps and chaos that was created.
Well, it was difficult. Having your professional and personal life jumbled up together did not really help me keep my peace of mind. I had days when I had to visit my office and manage work at home since these times somehow blurred the lines between office and personal hours. It was a lot harder when it came to those god awful work from home because it felt like work was never ending. And it was so much easier to communicate with everyone in a physical space. It basically felt convenient. However, as I mentioned earlier, my home is my place. It's a comfort zone for me, and I have learned to love the time I had on my hands, all because of COVID. I was actually able to take up a few activities that I have missed throughout the years and could not tend to because of my family. But this time, I reconnected, and it felt really good to get a sense of self back.
Now, that is a balance I honestly admire, Olive. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It truly is an honor to meet with you today and have a conversation with you. Talking to you feels so natural, and the way you reply is so easy to keep up with. Thank you so much, Olive, for your candid insights and the inspiration you bring. Your resilience and unwavering commitment to justice are truly remarkable. Before we close, I have one last burning question for you. Throughout your journey, you've encountered various characters, some supportive, others not so much. If you could have a heartfelt conversation with one character from the story, who would it be and what would you say?
Oh, that's a tough one. There are so many characters who played significant roles in my journey, but if I had to choose just one, it would be Grace, my mentor and confidant. She was there for me from the beginning, guiding me through murky waters of corporate politics and lending me her unwavering support when I needed it most. I would thank her for her guidance, her wisdom, and her unwavering belief in me. I would like to express my gratitude for the sacrifices she made and the risks she took to stand by my side. And most importantly, I would tell her how much her friendship means to me and how it has helped me become the person I am today.
What a beautiful sentiment, Olive. It's clear that grace played a crucial role in shaping your journey and helping you navigate the challenges you faced. Thank you for sharing that with us. And with that, we've unfortunately come to the end of our conversation. Olive, thank you once again for gracing us with your presence and your inspiring story. And to our listeners, don't forget to pick up a copy of Asma Jan Muhammad's S.H.O.R.E, The Ultimate Descent, for a captivating read that will leave you feeling empowered and motivated. Until next time, stay curious and keep striving for positive change in the world. Goodbye for now. That's all for today, folks. Until next time, stay curious and keep fighting the good fight.